The message left his phone like a spark falling into dry grass, small and careless, yet powerful enough to change everything. A single dad, exhausted from another long day of fixing broken machines and broken promises, meant to send a playful line to an old contact saved under a similar name. Instead, that flirty text landed in the inbox of the coldest, most feared CEO in the city. A woman known for shutting down boardrooms with a look, not for standing outside a stranger's house. And yet, 5 minutes later, as rain kissed the quiet street, a luxury car slowed to a stop in front of his small, worn home, rewriting fate without asking permission. Before the story pulls you deeper, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Grandma Dearie if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet miracles that can happen on ordinary days. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them. He had never planned on becoming a single father. Life had made that decision for him the night his world cracked in half, leaving him with a sleepy child in his arms and a future that felt too heavy to carry. His mornings started before sunrise, packing lunches with careful hands, tying shoelaces, and whispering promises he was terrified he might not keep. By day he worked as a mechanic, hands stained with oil, back aching, mind always racing with bills, school fees, and the fear of falling short. By night, after his child fell asleep, the silence pressed in, reminding him how lonely responsibility could feel. That evening, fatigue had dulled his focus. His phone buzzed while he was sitting at the kitchen table, surrounded by unpaid envelopes and a cold cup of coffee. He typed a message meant to be light, a rare attempt to feel human again, to remind himself that he was more than survival mode. The text was playful, warm, almost hopeful. When he hit send, he didn't notice the name at the top of the screen. He only noticed the sudden stillness that followed, like the air itself was holding its breath. The reply didn't come. Instead, headlights cut across his living room wall. At first, he thought it was a neighbor. Then the knock came, firm and deliberate, not the hesitant knock of someone unsure. His heart pounded as he opened the door, expecting confusion or anger, maybe even humiliation. What he saw instead was a woman standing straight, eyes sharp yet searching, rain clinging to her perfectly tailored coat. This was the CEO whose name filled business pages, whose decisions closed factories and opened fortunes. The woman people called cold because she never let anyone close enough to see the cracks. She hadn't come to scold him. She hadn't come to threaten him. She had come because that message had landed on a part of her she thought was long dead. For years, her life had been numbers, contracts, late nights in glass offices where success echoed but warmth never stayed. She had built walls so high that even she forgot what was on the other side. That accidental text, so unguarded and sincere, had slipped through a crack she didn't know existed. Inside that modest home, time seemed to slow. She noticed the small shoes by the door, the crayon drawings on the fridge, the careful order of someone doing their best with very little. He noticed how her confident posture softened as she took it all in, how her eyes lingered on signs of a life built on love, not power. Neither of them spoke in the way movies promise. Instead, understanding grew quietly in the way she listened, in the way he stood honest and unashamed of his struggles. The days that followed were not magically easy. His life didn't suddenly become free of stress, and her world didn't stop demanding perfection, but something shifted. She began to see beyond spreadsheets and quarterly reports, questioning decisions she once made without blinking. He began to believe that his worth wasn't measured by his bank balance or his exhaustion. Their connection wasn't about rescue, it was about recognition. Two people from opposite ends of life seeing each other clearly for the first time. The real challenge came when the world noticed. Rumors spread, judgments formed, and pressure mounted. He feared being seen as someone reaching above his place. She feared being accused of weakness. There were nights when doubt whispered that it would be easier to walk away. But every time fear rose, it was met by something stronger, the quiet courage of choosing kindness again and again. She stood up for him in rooms where his name had never belonged. He reminded her, through simple moments, why life was meant to be felt, not just won. Change didn't arrive like a spotlight, it came like dawn, slowly, gently, undeniable. His child laughed more, sensing stability where there was once only strain.